Hey guys, welcome to Two Dudes Talking. I'm DJ. That's Dustin. What's up? We are back. If you're watching us right now at this moment, Rafael Dos Anjos has a new opponent for this UFC fight night on ESPN 1,000,026, whatever the heck it is.
Are they even counting him anymore? I don't think they are.
No, the only ones that count him are the fake news media. So enter Paul Felder, who hasn't fought since February, who was kind of retired. He didn't seem like he was going to come back. It looked like he was pretty comfortable sitting in on the sidelines commentating and sitting next to John Anik talking about fights. And he was good at it, he's really good at it. He's found his calling. But he steps in to fight a former champ, to fight a jiu-jitsu solid dude, like just a master. I mean, look, I don't know about you, but I think Paul Felder's got a lot. He's biting off more than he can chew, I think, on one short notice, 5 days.
Yeah.
But he's stepping up for Uncle Dana and the UFC and getting it done, because, to be honest, with all due respect, there's nothing else on this card except for this fight. This fight falls off. I mean, it ends up looking like I'll take it back to like UFC on Fuel TV 2. You know what I mean? Like, it just one of those fights that happened in Macau or whatever we had going back when. No, actually, Kung Lee fought at Macau. It was really
he did. I was going to say that was a Kung Lee card.
But if that fight fell off, the rest of the card was kind of So look, Paul Felder, I think, has one win off a submission. Fact check me, but
all right, I'll fact check.
He's not winning by submission. If it goes to the ground, I think Dos Anjos takes this fight pretty handedly. Paul Felder is a purple belt, but I mean, Dos Anjos is like, what, a 10th degree black belt.
Well, you never know with those Brazilians, because they don't tell the truth on what rank they really are.
Absolutely. So my feeling is, if Paul Felder doesn't get a knockout, then Dos Anjos is going to win pretty handedly. My prediction is Dos Anjos second round sub. Let's call it a I don't know, fighter's choice. He's going down by something, but it's going to be his choice on what he goes down.
I'm going to go third round, and just because I love the name of the choke, by Darce.
Nice. Look, I want to root for Felder. Philly boy. Philly came through big this weekend for multiple reasons.
I mean, you also hate those Brazilian fighters for the most part.
I don't hate. I just I'm not a fan of some of them.
I said for the most part. I gave you a little wiggle room there.
Yeah. I think that Paul Felder could pull off a Philly, and
Paul's going to be
take the win. I mean, he's a tough Irish fighter. I mean, it's hard to kind of discount those guys, but coming off of 5 days, I mean,
yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Look, good for him for taking it. I hope
awesome for him.
I hope he wins. It would be a great story. But I have it's going to deep water feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Darce. I hope it's something fun. So let's get a choke we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. Let's see something new, and maybe Dos Anjos is gonna try to do that. Who knows?
Or a sub we haven't seen in a while. It's not a choke, like an omoplata or something.
Yeah. What else we got on the docket here? NBA's coming back.
But yeah, the players voted to start December 22nd.
Yeah,
that's a tight turnaround for the teams in the finals. What is it, 70 days?
Which puts a super damper on many of their holiday plans, I'm sure. So,
yeah,
look, the only ones that should be really, really ticked off about this are the Lakers and the Heat. I would probably bet that guys like AD and LeBron voted against coming back so early. But LeBron also said he's probably going to cherry pick the games that he comes back and plays. So
I don't know
I
who
mean,
said it, so we'll say it was Michael Wilbon because it sounds like something he would say, and he's
yeah.
brilliant. He said you're going to see a lot of load management. Have to agree.
And they should. And I mean, there's teams like the Golden State Warriors that are going to be like, finally, we haven't played in a year, right? And we're going to get to finally come back, and they're going to be well rested, and they're going to hopefully be injury free. And like I said, teams like the Lakers are gonna suffer because of this early comeback. But look, I think it was always going to be the majority of players who don't make LeBron money,
Yep.
who don't have the big shoe deals, who they need the money, so they need to come back as quickly as possible. And so that's why we're seeing a December comeback. But it wouldn't be Christmas without the NBA,
Well,
right?
that's what I was just going to say. Christmas wants to own the N. Christmas wants to own the NBA. Good lord, the NBA wants to own Christmas. Wow.
Right. Exactly. And they don't want another sport to step in and do something big. And they want to be able to be synonymous with Christmas, which to me, it's always about the NBA on ESPN or ABC, and it's on Christmas.
Yeah, and
Right.
TNT. Well, look, here's my one bone to pick with the NBA, and you already know what this is. Go back to home away jerseys. No, I don't want to see the Lakers in yellow playing in Chicago. Stop. The Lakers should be in yellow or white or black at home and in purple everywhere else. I don't care. It's the
Yeah.
Legends and the whatever city. No, stop.
No, I mean, look, they've gone away from what usually you flex the different jerseys at a home game, right?
Yeah.
You don't do that on the road because the home team gets to select what jerseys they wear, and then the visiting team has to select basically the opposite opposing color. That's changed. A lot of things have changed in the NBA, my friend.
Well, that happened when Nike took over.
Yeah.
Nike took over the jerseys, and they went away from the terminology of home away jerseys to legend, and I don't even recall what the other one was. I was too annoyed by the time I read that they were going away from it.
Yeah. It's all about jersey sales, and that's what's driving stuff like
merchandising,
this.
merchandising. Spaceballs the lunchbox. Spaceballs the cereal.
Exactly.
Spaceballs the flamethrower.
Yeah. And moving on. It's Masters Week.
This
this
I'm
is
gonna
all
go away. I'm out.
this is all me. Look, it's been delayed months and months and months, and now we're headed to Augusta, Georgia
during winter,
in the fall or winter, I guess, as it were. And holy cow, it's going to be nice and chilly, but there is no forecast of rain, snow, or sleet, or hail, or anything. So far, it looks beautiful. Look, there's only a few players to watch. Tiger coming back defending from last year. Can Tiger do it? Tiger can do anything he really damn well pleases.
Well, which Tiger shows up? Injury Tiger?
Look, when he's on, he is unbeatable, especially at Augusta. But I think that there are three players to watch this weekend. My first one is a former defending Masters champion, Bubba Watson, from the home state of Georgia. He's playing really well. He's dealt with some mental issues. He admitted to such as to why he has not had success over the last year or so, but he's coming back. There's Colin Morikawa, who is a stud who can stripe a 5-iron and shape it, and he's just a beautiful player who knows how to play a course like this. This will be his first time playing the Masters, and so it's going to be interesting to see if he can kind of complete that storybook ending to his year. And then for me, it's always Justin Thomas. I think he's always in play if he can continue a 4-day run. We'll see. Look, a lot of people want to say, and you even mentioned this as a layperson, well, what about Bryson DeChambeau? Isn't he, primed to really tear Augusta National a new one with his driving, his massive drives that he could basically drive green? I just don't think that Augusta National welcomes that kind of party. Is it possible? look, if he just hits it and lands it in the rough, but he only has to hit a wedge, of course. I mean, he's got a chance. But look, I've been to Augusta National. That place, I couldn't imagine just knocking it as far as you can and being able to survive a second shot. So, and I'm also just not a true believer in just hit it as hard as you can and then try to make up for it.
Rip it and rip it.
Yeah, I don't believe in that grip it and rip it style. I believe in really just playing the course. And look, we'll see. Could we be seeing, Bryson with a green jacket? We certainly could. And that
Better
would
increase the shoulder size then.
and that would usher in a whole new way of golf. And we'll see. Like I said, those three guys is Bubba, Justin, and Colin. Those are my three to watch. And then honorable mention to Tiger.
This is how golf stupid I am. Does it start this Thursday?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, they are already there. They are already practicing. John Rahm already hit a hole in one on his practice round on a par 3.
Oh, come on. They got to count that.
Of course. I mean, he's still going to go back to the clubhouse and buy beers for everybody, right? So they'll count it that way at the very least. Look, it happened. He documented on social media, so it happened, right? It's not one of those legends that you just hear. John Rahm, hit a hole in one here.
It's also a little harder to have a legend at Augusta in the modern environment where there's always eyeballs on you.
Exactly.
Real briefly, congratulations to Primoz Roglic for winning back-to-back Vuelta a España, or de España, sorry, which is the Tour of Spain. I told you. Yeah, that's me with golf. There you go. That's all I had to say about it. I won't bore you. And if you haven't checked out the tour course for 2021, you should. It's great. There's some serious mountains and some serious climbing in it. It's fantastic. I can't wait.
Why is it that it didn't feel like anyone covered it? Why did it feel that way? Because no one covered it, right?
Yeah, well, people don't care, which is sad because, it's a crazy endurance sport when you think about it. I mean, the dudes get on their bike and ride, 100 miles day one, and then the next day they're riding 100 miles again. It's like, I ain't doing that.
Yeah. NBC covers this stuff. Why have they not really done a very good job around all of this?
Well, it
seems like when I would turn on NBC and you usually see cycling or you see Ironman or you see something, I don't really feel that I've seen any of that this year.
Well, I think it's twofold. One, it was delayed, everything. So the entire cycling season was completely thrown off due to COVID, like everything else. And NBC Sports covered it, meaning NBC Sports Network. So you're going to catch it there. I also think with the Tour de France specifically, there's no real competitive American for the crown. And usually, as with most sports, if you don't have a home kid person competing, you're not going to tune in. When Lance was winning all those years, the ratings in America went through the roof. Obviously, what happened with him afterwards, he got stripped of his 7 in a row, and a lot of people just said, no, I'm done, screw that. Or there's no American really competing. But, there are some Americans out in cycling who have finished multiple tours or are in the top 10, 15, who are amazing. Like the kid is an example, Sepp Kuss. If you haven't heard of him, look him up. Amazing cyclist out of Colorado.
Well, this is the problem I see with, just kind of going away from cycling and just in general sports is these sports networks like CBS Sports Network, NBC Sports Network. They are not putting anything on the big mother network like NBC and CBS.
Right.
And they are putting everything on their sports network. The problem is no one's going to those sports networks to watch anything.
Right.
So if you don't put them on the big networks, they're going to go to die, right?
Well, the problem, okay, I agree with you, but it's twofold. The first is they do, NBC specifically for the Tour de France, which is the biggest event pretty much in the world. I guess outside the Olympics, but I think it's bigger, but we can argue that later. They do put some stages on big NBC, NBC4 or whatever your local affiliate is. But the problem is because specifically for the West Coast, we're talking like 3:30 in the morning to maybe 7:30 in the morning. That runs into all the Good Morning NBC, Good Day LA, whatever it is on NBC. I don't remember off the top of my head stuff. So they can't put it on NBC.
But on the weekends they should, right?
They do sometimes.
I mean, but I'm just saying that I've turned on NBC at least this weekend. I didn't see anything, and look, I think the argument can be, okay, well, we can't put it on because of the time difference, and so we're going to cut into certain things. Look, I don't really care. Like with NBC Sports specifically, they cut these things up to tell a story. It wasn't necessarily live.
No. Well, you're talking about the primetime coverage. The primetime
Yeah.
coverage they do cut up, but when it's live, it's actually not their footage.
Right. It comes from the
It comes
federation, right?
from the federation, or it comes from the France TV station or Spain or Italian that they're partnered with
Right.
to get the footage. So I will say this, the announcers do a fantastic job, the US British announcers, because they don't have control over where the footage goes. So they're literally talking about a cyclist they're seeing, and then all of a sudden it'll switch to somebody else, and they'll be like, oh, I have to switch gears because I'm not getting that back. They're not listening to me.
Right.
So, hey, you know what? Great coverage. Hard to do because just the raw distance. It is not the most exciting thing to watch. I will give you that. It's a bunch of guys just out there pedaling. It gets exciting, with a bunch of climbs when the race blows up, if you will, where guys start.
But that's what NBC does really well. Is like I said, I go back to telling the story. Like this guy had, came from a broken home, was raised by wolves, and learned to cycle on a wooden bike. Right? Like they know how to tell a story. It's like you have Troutwig. He gets on and he has that voice. And you're like, this is what I equate to the Tour de France. That's what I want to hear. I want to know where these guys came from, these relationships they have, and how they came to being on the biggest, on the biggest stage in the world. And they, to me, like they've fallen off. I think maybe it's.
I think that in the next, I'll say 2 or 3 years, this kid Sepp Kuss could reignite American cycling in terms of just, rabid fandom for Joe Fan. Meaning you.
Yeah.
Because for me, I definitely follow it, it's legitimate. That dude was putting up races and mountains, and he looked as easy as you like on the bike going up, basically this. And he was just like, yeah, okay, we're going. Like, dude, holy crap.
Staying on this subject, you had a feel-good story about an Ironman.
Yes. So I want to get his name right, so I'm going to look it up because I don't want to get this wrong. So we had the first person with Down syndrome ever to finish an Ironman. And I say
Pretty
we,
awesome.
I mean the human race. So Christopher, I'm going to butcher this, so forgive me. If somebody knows how to pronounce his last name, please, please, please tell us. Nikic, that's Nikic. First person with Down syndrome to complete an Ironman. Look, I've never completed an Ironman. So power to him for doing an Ironman. Power to him for doing it with the disability. Power to the people that were with him and helped to train him and kept him motivated throughout the race. And dude, you're my freaking hero.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Pretty awesome.
That is the best feel-good story I've seen in weeks.
Yeah. And we certainly needed something like this.
Oh, yeah. As soon as I saw it, I was like, we are talking about this. This is an amazing story.
Yeah, because there's a million other things that could get us down right now. And this is the type of story that can just really lift your hearts, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I trained for a very short triathlon. I mean, short compared to an Ironman. We're talking like an ant's size compared to an Ironman. So I understand what it takes to get ready for something even that short. But to get ready for a full Ironman and have any type of disability, wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Pretty freaking awesome, man. I mean, congrats to that guy.
For sure.
Anything? Yeah. You got anything else?
No, that's all I got. You want to talk about Uncle Dana like you always like to?
No, there's nothing. Look, I saw an interesting supercut of him that was floating around going viral but it was politics. I don't want to get into that right now.
I will say this though, if you haven't watched it, I don't know if it was the making of whatever the hell they call it about the Fight Island stuff that's on the ESPN Plus is actually pretty friggin' good. Just all the stuff they had to go through in terms of testing and the false positives and the positives and how it almost went completely sideways before they even got going. It's fascinating. And it was well directed, well cut, well edited. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, the undertaking that they had to go under to get these fights or to continue to get these fights off the ground, I mean, have been applaudable. They've done a really fantastic job. You really haven't heard of people popping for, I guess you can call it popping. I mean, testing positive for COVID.
Popping is steroids.
Let's finish it off with. I don't want to finish it off with such a negative story, but I want to because I think it's warranted. It was the Clemson Notre Dame game.
You know I can't talk about that. There's somebody in this
No.
house who went to Clemson.
Look, I'm just going to finish with this. All of those students who rushed the field,
Jabroni.
thousands and thousands of jabronis rushing the field. I'm not looking forward to hearing how many college students test positive for COVID at Notre Dame. Notre Dame was one of those schools that actually had a big issue at the beginning of the school year with COVID. Look, the problem is you can have them spread out. You can have them in the arena, in the Coliseum, and then what happens is,
back up. If you actually watch that game, which I had to watch all of it, those students, I'm assuming they were students, were not at all socially distanced in the stand.
No,
so it starts right there. That's a failure by the university.
Absolutely. So in theory, they're supposed to be spread out, right? So, okay, they're spread out. Now, all of a sudden, they just beat, a top 10 team. They're really super stoked. I mean, look, what is it? Number 4 beating number 1.
Yeah.
Maybe it's number 4. You're number 4.
Yeah, but pollsters.
But you're number 4. You kind of should be in competition with number 1. Like, that's not really, to me, that's really not a huge upset. Number 11 beating number 1, rush the field.
A 16 over a 1 in March Madness.
Right. A number 4 beating a number 1. Act like you've been there before, Notre Dame. I don't think you rush the field for that. But look, the whole thing is you get one knucklehead who rushes the field, and I've done it too. I've rushed the field.
I have.
But you get one knucklehead who runs, and all of a sudden everybody is. So you can't look. Hey, that's just the way humans work. They're like a bunch of ants sometimes, a bunch of sheep.
Not what I would say, but yeah.
And that's exactly what they did. Hopefully no one contracts anything or gets seriously sick. But we also know that that's not going to be the case, that someone's going to get sick and someone's going to maybe die.
Well, I heard
I don't wish that upon anybody, but come on.
Yeah, right? That would be bad. I heard that they are mandating, and I don't know if it's all students, period, or if it's just all student and student athletes that were at the game, including coaching staffs, or have mandatory COVID tests. And I'm assuming monitoring, because obviously it can incubate for 14 days and all of a sudden, hey, you're positive.
Yeah.
So they're going to be doing a whole lot of contact tracing, which is not what a university wants to be doing right now, obviously.
Yeah. Look, also, too, what if a player ends up getting COVID from that event?
Oh, I'd be pissed.
That could potentially shut down their season. Again, number 4 in the country at that moment. Just now number 1.
2, but yeah.
Now number 2. They could potentially have their season ended prematurely because some players test positive for COVID.
Yeah, no. If they get if it's truly a super spreader event and it goes to their players or their coaching staff, thus their players, their season's done.
Yeah.
I mean, how many we've seen already 2 canceled Pac-12 games?
Yep.
We've seen a couple canceled Big Ten. I never get this right. The Big 10 with 12 and the Big 12 with 10 games.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Look, we're living in a new world. Until there's a viable vaccine, stay away from each other.
Yeah. Which Pfizer says they have.
I know, I saw 90%. So, look, if there was a viable vaccine, we would not be in a different room. Right. We'd be in the same room on one camera yelling at each other.
Exactly. I mean, look, hopefully we get the vaccine. Hopefully it works. Us normal people are probably not going to get this vaccine until the summer.
I think like fall next year.
Yeah, if you really
by the time they mass produce it. I mean, you're talking the world over. You're not talking the U.S. here.
Yeah.
You're talking.
By the time you do the math, we are not getting it until this time next year.
It's all the high-risk people and the super, super, super rich people.
Yep. Frontline workers.
Oh, for sure. Them first.
Military,
it should absolutely be them first.
Et cetera, et cetera. So we are on the list at the very, very,
I think there's 7 billion. I'm like 6,999,900 rinse and repeat. That's probably me.
Stay 6 feet apart, if not more. I'm DJ. That's Dustin. We'll see you next week. Peace. We out.